From a $60 million mansion in Puerto Rico to a single Pokemon card worth $5.3 million, YouTube millionaires are known for splurging their cash on exotic items just because they can. Now let's take a look at some of the most expensive things these millionaire YouTubers own, starting with the $500,000 Dragon Ball pendant. Just like most people, KSI, that has a net worth of almost $25 million, loves Dragon Ball, but the biggest difference between him and the rest of the Dragon Ball fanbase is that he can afford to buy a $500,000 chain with a large sculpture of the popular character Beerus. Why does it cost $500,000, you ask? Well, first of all, it is custom made for KSI himself and took over 22 days for multiple expert jewelry craftsmen to be fully made. It has almost 2,000 stones embedded in it, such as purple sapphires, yellow diamonds, and even 18-karat gold, making it a one-of-one super rare necklace and giving it a price tag of a whopping $500,000. Even the makers of the chain said that they almost crashed the software used multiple times to make the jewelry while designing the necklace. This was because of how detailed the face and the sculpture of the chain were in real life. Other than this incredibly expensive necklace, he has a collection of supercars worth over $400,000, including a custom-made $350,000 Lamborghini Aventador, a Porsche 718 Boxster, and a Porsche Cayenne. Only KSI can afford such items, but the most expensive things he and his fellow YouTubers star Logan Paul own, it's their shares in the Prime company. According to multiple reports, Prime is worth well over $1 billion after the huge success they are having with their products. It is still unclear how many shares KSI and Logan Paul actually own from the billion-dollar company, but it is more than obvious that their net worth skyrocketed because of Prime, and they are on their way to become the first YouTube billionaires. Logan Paul is no stranger to million-dollar purchases, however. His most prized possession is so crazy expensive, rare, and unusual, it makes KSI's Dragon Ball necklace look like a joke. Back in 2022, Logan Paul set the Guinness World Record, dropping serious cash on a rare, perfect condition PSA 10 rated 1998 Pikachu Illustrator card that shook the world. After months of hunting and searching for the card, Logan Paul managed to close the deal at Burj Al Arab in Dubai and bought this rare card for a whopping $5.3 million. According to PSA, it is currently the only known mint condition Pikachu Illustrator card in the world. No wonder it cost Paul that much. He was so proud of this purchase, he even proudly displayed it on his neck during his entrance at WWE WrestleMania. Whether you call it a show-off or just a man being proud of his $5 million Pokemon card, you have to give the man credits for having the balls to put so much money on a cardboard playing card, especially after he was scammed buying a $3.5 million case of sealed and authenticated first edition Pokemon cards that turned out to be fake G.I. Joe cards. But this isn't even the craziest purchase Paul has made. Buying Pokemon cards is a whole market, and if you do it right, it could be a very good investment. But buying a dinosaur skull, I'm not sure how this is smart. Mike Malak gave fans a tour of Logan's mansion in an episode of The Night Shift on March 10th, and other than showing the insane $16 million mansion, Paul proudly showed off his $500,000 66 million year old Triceratops skull displayed in the middle of the living room, made up of 70% actual dinosaur bones. Logan Paul also once owned a pair of Mercedes-Benz couches worth over $100,000 that were, as Paul said, incredibly uncomfortable to sit on, which actually beats the purpose of having the couches, especially when they cost more than the yearly income of an average person. He eventually put them up for sale, and YouTuber Iraq was the one that bought them, and then went on to destroy them in a series of videos that went super viral. These huge numbers are really starting to give me a headache if I'm being completely honest. Now, Logan Paul doesn't live in his $16 million mansion alone, because who would live in a 13,000 square foot 8-bedroom house all alone? He shares it with his brother, Jake Paul, who is also no stranger to million-dollar purchases, given he is also incredibly wealthy. The problem child is a bit more careful with his money. He doesn't spend it on rare Pokemon cards and weird dinosaur heads. He does spend them, however, on a Bugatti. Not the one you would drive on the street, but the one you can actually put on your wrist. Jake Paul owns a Jacob & Co. Bugatti Chiron watch with a custom rose gold finish worth $650,000, and that's just one of his many watches in his collection. He also owns an $856,000 Richard Mille 1103 RM Ivory watch that just radiates luxury, along with other Rolexes and other Marpiquet, which brings his collection to well over $1 million. But what is a millionaire without a few luxury cars and mansions? Jake owns a Tesla X worth around $150,000 and a Lamborghini Huracan Performante worth about $350,000. And before dropping serious cash on his Puerto Rico mansion, he had a massive mansion in Calabasas, California that he later sold for about $6.1 million. Till now, we went through many cars, mansions, Pokemon cards, and random collectibles. But the craziest item owned by a YouTuber, however, is owned by none other than IShowSpeed. When you think of crazy, you think of speed. The viral streamer is known for his stupid antics on his lives, acting crazy and taking way too many stupid decisions. And one of those stupid decisions set him back almost $175,000. For context, there is a whole resale market for Roblox hats and fedoras that sometimes sell for a couple $1,000 due to the massive history of fedoras on Roblox and the exclusivity of such items. The classic Roblox fedora, the first fedora added to the game, sells for thousands in the resale market. Hats and fedoras like it also sell for thousands due to the exclusivity and amount that was ever released. And one such fedora was the Midnight Blue Sparkle Time fedora, which there were only 100 released. While streaming, a viewer sent Speed to the buy page of this Midnight Blue Sparkle Time, which was listed for 14 million Robux, which is around $175,000 in real life. Speed thought it would be funny to bait his viewers thinking he is actually going to buy it, but then backing down at the very last second. Speed, however, wasn't quick enough, and he went on to actually buy it and made one of the most expensive fedora purchases at 14 million Robux. Now, I'm not sure what's more crazy, a random in-game item selling for that much money, or having $175,000 laying around in your bank that you don't have a problem if they are gone. But somewhere in the world, there was a 10-year-old kid that suddenly became $175,000 richer. But now, you will see the difference between a young 70-year-old streamer accidentally spending $170k on a Roblox fedora and one of the largest tech reviewers in England, Mr. Who's the Boss, spending the same amount of money on a gold phone. Yes, Mr. Who's the Boss bought the most expensive phone ever, sold for $170,000, called the Caviar Gold phone. It is a Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra with a kilogram of 24-karat pure gold glued to its back. You would think for $170,000 you would get an exceptional phone, but other than the gold bar, the phone is just a regular S21 Ultra with one slight difference. Because of the huge gold bar on its back, it blocks the view of the cameras, meaning your $170,000 phone can't even take a picture. There is, however, a slight advantage to having this one, and that's the fact that you can replace the S21 Ultra with a new phone whenever a newer version comes out. Not sure if that's worth the $170k, however, but hey, I'm not the one with millions of dollars in my bank account. Now, how can we talk about millionaire YouTubers that spend an absurd amount of money without mentioning the king of YouTube, MrBeast himself? In MrBeast's case, it's hard to talk about the millions of dollars he spent on things he owned, because the man doesn't own anything. He doesn't have a crazy expensive watch, doesn't own a supercar, doesn't have a large mansion, or anything of that nature. He lives a super normal and humble life while being busy working. But the millions he spends on his videos put all of the above YouTubers we talked about in his pocket. He did, however, buy a $100,000 BMW i8 car when he was just starting out as a YouTuber and getting the taste of millions of dollars in his bank account. But the car didn't last too long in his possession, as he later sold it because he thought it drew too much unwanted attention and it's just useless. His millions actually goes right back into his YouTube videos. He spent over $4.5 million creating his Squid Game video, which was one of the most expensive videos he has ever made. But it surely paid off, seeing how it is on its way to 1 billion views. He has given away yachts, millions of dollars worth of Lamborghinis, houses and cash to people, and even destroyed some just for the sake of entertaining content. One of his biggest giveaways is this $2.5 million private jet. In a last Take Your Hand Off Jet Keep It video, Jimmy invited 10 of the biggest YouTubers to all put their hand on this $2.5 million jet, and whoever keeps their hand on the longest wins it. Shaw was the last man standing and walked away with his own private jet. I actually did the calculations myself, and in total, MrBeast has given away over $50 million worth of cash prize money in his videos, without taking into account production costs and material giveaways like cars, jets, yachts, and houses. It is safe to say that not spending $5 million on Pokemon cards or $500,000 on a Dragon Ball Z necklace allowed Jimmy to pour all his money back into his content, making him the biggest YouTuber on the planet. And with his company Feastables crushing it in the chocolate market, he is well on his way to become a billionaire, along with Logan Paul and KSI.